I'm sure some of you have noticed in any video that we have Nathan in that he has a spot on his forehead. What is it called?
It's called a strawberry hemangioma, or strawberry spot, or just hemangioma.
And as scary as the word hemangioma means, it is not cancer.
No. And also in some of the documentation that they gave us, it actually is called a tumor. But it is a non-cancerous tumor, so again, no need to worry.
It's basically just a growth of microscopic blood vessels that just are close to the surface.
Yeah. And basically, as far as for Nathan, it just, we noticed a little red mark there. We thought maybe he got scratched by something, but it kept getting bigger and bigger, and it actually got raised. And then at that point, we figured out what it was, that it wasn't just a scratch. So
yeah, and actually I will insert a few pictures of the development of his strawberry spot up until now. About is they do kind of look like blood blisters, I guess, but it's not painful at all. Like, he doesn't feel it. Like, you can even touch it, and he experiences no pain whatsoever. And like his, like I said, and you probably saw in the pictures, when it first started, it just looked like a little white mark, and then it grew. And it grows until they're about 4 to 6 months old, and then they slowly start to recede, and they will most likely go away anywhere between the ages of 5 and 9 years old. I think the doctor said most of them go away by the time they're 5. So.
Yeah, they said that you don't have to do anything about it, but you can do some things to make it go away a little bit faster. The dermatologist that we went to prescribed something called timolol, which I guess is something that they use for eyes. It's actually an eye drop medication. It's a catabolic steroid, but basically they just said put a little drop on your finger and rub it on the spot, and that should help it go away a little bit faster.
And there is no known cause as to why these develop. Like, I think the latest statistic that I saw said they happen in like 5 to 10% of kids end up having them somewhere. Like, they're usually like on the face somewhere, or on the head, or on the back. And the only time they ever really recommend operating immediately is if it's going to affect how the baby eats or breathes, or if it's close to an eye. That's really the only time they recommend operating, because it goes away on its own. There's really no need to.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. And they can do cosmetic surgery to remove it, but it does leave a scar if they do that, so it's always better to let it just go away on its own.
Yep. And when we were looking at it, we found out that it is actually more common in girls than in boys, and smaller birth weight babies are much more likely to get them. So I thought that was interesting, because Nathan was born 6 pounds 13 ounces, so I guess he was kind of small on average, but not that small.
Everybody seemed to think that he was really small, but
yeah. And if they bleed, they're rarely life-threatening, but they can bleed because it's blood vessels close to the skin. But it's
you don't have to do anything extra to it. You just
treat it like a normal,
like you would in any other spot.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and as far as Nathan's is concerned, he doesn't have it in a place that's going to be bad, particularly bad, because it's on kind of like the corner of his forehead. They said sometimes when they're really large and puffy, they'll go away, but sometimes they'll leave kind of like a little wrinkly area. But if it's on that part of his forehead, they said it probably will just, stretch out the skin when he grows. So it shouldn't be any sort of a weird issue. And again, they can always do cosmetic surgery at some point if they need to.
Exactly. And the main reason that we wanted to do this video is because we just kind of want to spread some awareness as to this. Like, literally every time we go out, someone makes a comment, and it's not just, oh, what is that? It's like, what did you do to your child? How did your child end up with this, like, type of...
It's all very judgmental. They're not, like, throwing it at you like that, but it's usually like, oh, what happened? That's a big boo-boo. And then we try to explain it to them, and, half the time they're like, oh, okay. There's this one lady, though. We were shopping at Macy's. An employee,
still makes us angry.
Yeah, very frustrating. It still drives us crazy. It's probably like 3 months ago. She said something crazy like, oh, it's a big boo-boo, and I told her, no, it's a birthmark, and it'll go away on its own, because, everybody always asks 20 questions when it comes to this thing. And she just completely ignored everything I told her and said, oh, well, you'll have plenty of those in the future. It's like, really?
We're not lying to you. We're not making this up. I'm never upset if people just ask. It's the accusatory looks that we get, and it's just because, it's only 5 to 10% of kids have these, so a lot of people go their entire life without seeing them. And it is an actual thing, and it's absolutely harmless,
Yeah.
So
except for when you get crazy people who overreact and act like they're going to report you to DCFS or something.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, it's crazy. Like, I'm tempted to go and pick up a bunch of pamphlets and bring them with us, so then when somebody makes a comment, it's just like, yep, here you go.
And I've never minded kids asking about Nathan's birthmark, because they're just like, what is that? Is that a boo-boo? And then I can explain, it's a birthmark and it'll go away. And most of them even ask if they can touch it. And I'm fine with that because it doesn't hurt them. I tell them to use gentle fingers and you can touch it, because the more you understand, the less you're afraid of something. And I think that's the thing with adults. They constantly think that everyone is an abusive parent and they have to protect these children, which I appreciate people wanting to protect children, but not everyone out there is an abuser, so you shouldn't treat everyone like an abuser.
Yeah, really. At this point, it's just like, oh, you left your kid in the car for a little too long. Well, guess what? We're going to take your kid away and put them in a foster home. And that'll be so much better than leaving him with, his mom who made one little mistake. Yeah, great.
But that's really it. We just wanted to help spread some education about strawberry hemangiomas. Did you have anything else to add, honey?
Yay!
So we hope we gave at least a little bit of good information for you. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below, and thanks for watching.